Okay, predictions for NAL Playdate number 5. I guess we're about halfway through the stage. Day 5 is the very middle day, so once we've completed day number 5, we'll be over halfway percentage-wise through the stage. I'm doing fairly well on the predictions. I think I'm at 13 out of 20, 65%, about 2/3. Pretty good. On day 1, I think I got 3, and day 2, I got 4 correct, and day 3, I got 2, and then on day 4, I got 4. So let's talk about day 4, the most recent day. So Space Station over TSM, I got that correct. Xset over Parabellum, got that one wrong, and then Astralis over Dark Zero, Beast Coast over Sonics, and Oxygen over Mirage. I got all 3 of those correct as well, so the only one I missed was this one. And I wouldn't have been surprised for any of these games to go either way, except for I would have been surprised if Mirage did beat Oxygen, but all the other ones I could have potentially seen going the other way reasonably. It wouldn't have been a colossal upset. And 2 of them, I mean, did go almost the other way. Space Station versus TSM and Dark Zero versus Astralis both went to overtime. So they were, sort of neck and neck. I guess both of the winning teams, Space Station and Astralis, did win 8-6 rather than 8-7, so it wasn't as close as it could be, but still, we went 6-6 at one point, so it was a fairly close match overall. And all right, so days 3 and 4 were pretty tough to call, and I mean, just even the earlier days were really tough to call because we didn't know that much. Day 3 and 4 we knew a little bit more, but they still were really hard matchups to call. I think I got pretty lucky to get 4 of the 5 correct on day number 4, and day 5 is possibly the hardest day to predict so far. I think I've probably said that already, but a lot of these teams are just adjacent to each other in the standings or within like a point or 2 of each other. So Beast Coast and Xset are separated by only 1 point. They're both 2 and 2. Beast Coast just has an extra point for going to overtime in their match against Dark Zero. Dark Zero versus TSM, they're separated by only 2 points. Mirage and Sonics, I suppose, are separated by 3 points, but they're both the bottom 2 teams on the standings. And Astralis and Parabellum are separated by, 2 points, and Oxygen and Space Station, technically it is 4 points, but they're also adjacent on the standings, so I suppose the widest gap here, but still, the top 2 teams technically. Space Station is tied with Astralis, and Astralis even has the head-to-head, but because Space Station has the round differential there, second place, Oxygen first place, so right. All right, let's predict games. This is not my first take of this video. I did a previous one, and I talked way too long about Beast Coast versus Xset, so I'm going to tone it down. I had a whole thing that I showed their map bans and picks and everything, and that it was a little bit of a runaway train. I concluded that maybe Beast Coast has has shown that their map pool is slightly better. In a sense, I sort of assigned which maps I thought were better. Each of these teams has been better on, and one more went to Beast Coast. But we've only seen 4 best of 1s from these teams. The only map they've overlapped on is Oregon, which has been played twice by Beast Coast, won 1 time and lost 1 time, and then Xset also played it, and all of this stuff. But even the maps that Beast Coast maybe seem slightly advantage on, some of them were played by Beast Coast and not by Xset, and that means that Xset has VOD on Beast Coast, and Beast Coast has no VOD on Xset on the map, and then even that's true also for it's just like so many things. It's too hard to call with such small sample size, so little experience. A lot of the other teams going farther back, you can actually look at their maps, but these are both pretty well brand new teams, so you can't really look at their maps. Okay. So I think in most regards, Xset is probably the favorite coming into this. Beast Coast does have that 1 additional point. They are higher in the standings, but they're both still on 2 and 2. Xset was incredible in this last week. They crushed both their opponents in Sonics and Parabellum. Beast Coast is coming off a win in the very last Playday, but they had a loss in the Playday before that, so they're 1-1 in the last week. Xset and Beast Coast have played 2 of the same opponents, so Xset beat Parabellum 7-1, whereas Beast Coast beat them 7-5, so a better win for Xset against Parabellum, and then they both also played Sonics, and Beast Coast won 7-2, Xset won 7-0, so another superior win for Xset. They're both still really dominant, 7-2, 7-0, but still, 7-0 is obviously better. And then they both have 2 losses as well. Beast Coast, really close loss to Dark Zero, so maybe that gives them a little bit of an advantage. They've each played half of that old top 4, so Beast Coast played Dark Zero and Oxygen. The Oxygen loss was the worst loss either of these teams have taken. It was a 7-2. And then Xset has a 7-3 loss, or 3-7, I suppose, loss to TSM, and the same scoreline against SSG. So those are both in the first week. They, maybe have gotten better since then. They worked on their nerves, whatever it is. So I think more reasons to pick Xset than Beast Coast. Still some amount of reasons to pick Beast Coast. But my gut wants me to pick Beast Coast. I just want to pick Beast Coast. I'm going to rock with them. I think it's a little bit of an upset. I think these are even-ish teams, but I want to say if any team is favored, it looks like Xset at the minute. But I'm going to rock with Beast Coast. It is what it is. Usually, I do enjoy predicting the team that I want to root for, and well, I mean, I just want to root for Beast Coast in this matchup, so that's nice for me in that regard, because I really want to get my prediction right. I also want to root for the team that I prefer, and now if I can do both, it's better. But yeah, I imagine I might get this one wrong, but that's what I'm rocking with. Okay, Dark Zero versus TSM, another really hard one to call. Coming into the stage, Dark Zero they were like okay. They had some issues last year, but they were like pretty solid overall in a lot of regards. TSM were pretty swingy. They had inconsistent results in the NAL itself. They didn't even get to go to the NAL finals, and then they didn't really do anything at the majors, only got to go to one, and then it wasn't even their full team. But then they won 6 Invitational, and they come back to best of ones, and they're back to struggling. Merc was on Super's podcast, and he was talking about how motivation and like energy have been a big issue for them. They just came off of 6 Invitational, and you're of course playing for the biggest prize pool, the biggest accolades in the world, and they won it, and now they're back to small time NAL. And NAL does have stakes, of course. You want to do well in the NAL so that you can go to the majors, and then so that you can do well at the majors to go to SI. But you know, it's still, you have to look pretty far into the future, and any given best of one doesn't feel that impactful. Whereas if you're playing in like bracketed SI, if you lose one, you're in the lower bracket. You lose another one, you're out. So yeah, it's definitely different. Neither of them had audiences, I guess, so it's not like they were getting hyped up at SI by audiences, but still they're playing for so much more. So maybe they can work on that. And it's not like Dark Zero has been spectacular or anything. They have won one more match than TSM, but it was a round 15 against Beast Coast. So this one's super tough to call. I initially wanted to pick Dark Zero. I feel like they're sort of the favorites just based on their performance in Stage 1 thus far. Of course, again, having won one more match. But, you know, they took that loss to Parabellum, and they also took a loss against Astralis. That was quite a close game. I don't think they have much overlap, do they, in terms of the teams that they played? TSM played Space Station. I guess they both played Mirage, and TSM lost to Mirage. Dark Zero beat Mirage, and pretty handily, too. I guess I'll go with Dark Zero. I mean, I sort of feel like this might be where TSM wakes up. It may be, and it's not like it would have to be a massive wake up against Dark Zero, but definitely TSM needs to do better than they have done. Their other 2 losses aren't that bad. They lost Oxygen and against Space Station, and they have the 1 win against Xset, which is a pretty good win. But I don't know. I guess I'll go with Dark Zero. This could go either way. Dark Zero also seemed to have fallen off a little bit because they did quite well in week 1. They got 5 out of 6 points, so 2 wins, and then they lost the 2 in this last week. I'll just go with Dark Zero. I don't know. It could go either way, really. All right. Sonics versus Mirage, the 2 bottom of the barrel teams. Sonics do not yet have a win. Mirage have just the 1 win, so they're on 3 points. And I mean, Sonics just, if you didn't know anything about Sonics before this stage, you'd think that they're just like an awful team, and what are they doing here in NAL? And if you know anything about them before that, you're wondering why. I mean, why are they doing so bad? They were such a good team before. And Mirage, they've shown that they can take a win, and maybe that had to do with playing on Theme Park. Maybe that just had to do with luck of the draw, TSM being all drowsy and not expecting Mirage to do this well, whatever it was. I've predicted Sonics to win 3 of their 4 games, so I got those 3 wrong. I got the most recent one right, where I predicted them to lose against Beast Coast. And I thought they were going to wake up against Xset, and I also thought they were going to wake up against whoever their Playday 2 opponent was, and I mean, they never did. If there's one team they should be able to beat, it seems like Mirage, the other bottom team here that hasn't looked that good, and it just seems like Sonics have to bounce back eventually, and it seems like they must have received enough punishment to motivate them. Maybe they figured things out. I hope they did. I'm going to go with Sonics here, and I guess I'm ready to be disappointed, but yeah, I'm gonna go with them. I feel like this, if there's anywhere they should be getting a win, it is in this very match. They have a very scary schedule coming up after this. Okay, Astralis versus Parabellum. This seems like maybe the easiest. It feels like perhaps, no, well, yeah, it feels like maybe the easiest one to call. Though these other 3 were very difficult to pick, honestly. And this seems like it's probably Astralis beating Parabellum. It could go the other way. It's possible. They both played against Dark Zero, and I suppose it was a better win for Parabellum. They beat them 7-4, whereas Astralis beat them 8-6. Do they have anything else in common? They both played Sonics, yeah, and that was a better win for Astralis with a 7-1 victory, whereas Parabellum had to beat them 7-3. And I'm just looking at the records thus far. Who else did they play? Did they both play Oxygen? No, Parabellum I don't think has, right? So The only loss Astralis has taken thus far was against Oxygen. Pretty convincing loss, but, well, that is Oxygen at the moment. And Parabellum have also played against... Yeah, they just got smashed by Exit in the most recent Playday. So, you know, it feels easy to pick Astralis here. I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see Parabellum, but I think maybe the heaviest favorite is Astralis. But, okay, actual heavy favorite. Oxygen versus Space Station. So, Oxygen just look unbeatable thus far, but if there's one team that can probably beat them, or, I don't know, make it close, take them to overtime, it's probably Space Station. Oxygen has yet to go 12 rounds. They've yet to go to overtime. They've won 7-4, 7-3, 7-2, 7-2. So they look incredible. But Space Station is the team right behind them in the standings, so maybe they can take it. I mean, I really want to root for Space Station. They've just been my favorite team for the longest time. But I mean, I have to go with Oxygen here, right? I'll be very... I mean, I'll be happy if Space Station can upset them, but in terms of my predictions, that'll be unfortunate. Yeah, I guess I'm going to rock with Oxygen, and maybe I'm foolish for saying this is the easiest one to call. Maybe Oxygen will just end up crushing Space Station, and in hindsight, everyone will be like, obviously they were going to beat them. They're ahead of them by 4 points, and they've only dropped however many rounds. What they've dropped, like 11 rounds or something overall. Yeah, I guess I'll go with them. In terms of the teams that they both played, they both 7-2'd Mirage, right? And they both played against TSM. It was a better win for Oxygen, a 7-4 versus Space Station's 8-6 win over TSM. And who else have they? I don't think that's probably all that they've both played, right? So Space Station also played against Astralis, and they lost to Astralis, whereas Oxygen beat Astralis. So a fairly close game between Space Station and Astralis, 7-5. Not so close game, Oxygen beating Astralis 7-3. So I guess, yeah, they've played a lot of the same teams. And then the other team for Space Station was Xset, and the other team for Oxygen was Beast Coast. And it was an Oxygen won 7-2 in that, and Space Station won 7-3. So really everything points to Oxygen beating Space Station. I suppose I could consider the stuff from last year. Last time in Stage 3 when they met, it was a 7... was it a 7-5? It was a victory for Space Station, and then I guess I don't even remember. I want to say Space Station beat them in one of the other 2 stages, maybe also Stage 2, definitely. And then I think probably in Stage 1, Oxygen beat them. Almost certainly, yeah. I just don't remember the scoreline. So, I mean, looking back to that time, I suppose Space Station has the winning record, but it's so different now. The map pool and the attacker repick and all this stuff, it makes me want to consider that past stuff less. Okay. So I guess those are going to be my predictions, and I hope I can get like 3 or 4 of them right, but I wouldn't be shocked if I only got like 1 or 2. So one more time: Beast Coast over Xset, Dark Zero over TSM, Sonics over Mirage, Astralis over Parabellum, and Oxygen over Space Station. I guess I went with all of the left guys. It is what it is. And once again, this is sort of prioritized based on their performances last year and stuff. In the NAL and then the NAL finals and relegations and all the stuff. But yeah, so that's what I'm going with. I mean, do you guys think Sonic's gonna get absolutely popped even by Mirage? Do you think TSM's finally gonna wake up here? Do you think Xset's gonna continue their rampage against Beast Coast? Do you think Oxygen's finally gonna take a loss? And I guess, do you think Parabellum can take down Astralis? Are all considerations to go against my predictions. So yeah, I guess this didn't end up being terribly long. Good thing I didn't go with that first take, because that was going to be really long. Okay, so, right, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, whatever, leave them below. Leave me a like and a sub. It is appreciated. And with all of that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.